Hello everyone. Okay, top video. Today's video is Organic Portal World Frequency Wars. So we've all heard about, info wars and how we're in information wars. That's pretty obvious. And I can't spell. Don't worry about my spelling. So, because there's more and more people, we're spinning out of control here. There's just competing frequencies. I'm sure you've all noticed this. The absolute competing frequencies, and it's frequency wars. And I could go into the situational contexts of it all, but I'm sure you've encountered this in your daily lives, with neighbours and stuff like that, especially, say, music wars or something. And I just wanted to say that when the organic portal does that to you, say they raise the music or something, then you can outlast them. I've seen them never go for longer than 3 hours, mentally projecting the psychic frequencies. I can beat them that way. Or the physical, like music, airwaves. Half an hour or something like that. So you can outcompete them quite easily with your soul perseverance, You're a soul, so persevere. And you'll beat them every time, I've noticed, until the Matrix makes a robotic portal that can last 4 hours in a psychic frequency war in the same room as me or something. I'm still in charge. So anyway, we've all seen these competing frequencies, and the close quarters in the world is just making it more obvious and yeah, making this happen, these frequency wars. So here I've got a note: revisit frequency match luring. And remember, I made a video on that frequency match luring, and that's for them to try and match your frequency. Because if they match your frequency, then they've got like a direct line of communication, and it's like they can directly download your frequency, and that's how they learn as well. That's how the Matrix learns, as a surface virus. So even they might play music you might like or something, and it can be a lure, even that. So look out for it. The lures are, anything like that. Now, the friendly OP, organic portal, is still really unfriendly. Okay? Why so? Well, because they'll be being a friend with you just to frequency match lure. If you don't think so, concentrate and focus and check out what I'm saying. Because trust me, and don't trust me, do it for yourself, but I've noticed that the friendly OP is only ever friendly to lure you deeper and or for the next trap. So henceforth, the undercurrent is not really friendly. So still a frequency match lure. And therefore, again with my bad spelling, but therefore nonconformist radio channel is a knob jockey. Oh, you wanted a shout out, did you? You want to put your little comment under Faye video because you're a follower. Yeah, you've got the real follower mentality. My advice under that comment was, when you said under the Faye video that I made, you said, oh, do a what's it called, an exposed video on me. And I visited your channel and realized you're that heart compass, or like earth heart compass, earth heart compass channel as well. You're the same guy, and I noticed your comment, and I'm a seer. That's what I do. When you guys are partying, I'm being taught to see. When you're working for some job, I'm being taught to see by the planet. Yeah? So be careful what you wish for, you know. Be careful what you ask for, because, you know, okay, I'll expose you as the knob jockey you are. You're riding the knobs, you jockey. You're a boy follower, you know, you follow the boys. I can see that instantly. You're one of those dudes that just wants to be cool and follow the boys. So be careful when you comment under my videos. Hey, this is a good time for an advertisement. I wanted to say for you all, advertisement break. So I wanted to say for you all, you know, comment more under the videos. If you're a dumbass, I'm probably going to delete your comment. And I'm only really asking for the intelligent people to comment, because then we build the channel. You know, even you guys can have good stuff to say. I've noticed a few comments on my channel so far that have made me realize something, or re-realize something, or added on to something I already realized. So yeah, please comment more, because that also is like when you like the video, it's the same thing. It, you know, hits on the algorithm and makes my you know, the video recommended for more people. When you're watching another organic portal video from some other channel, it's more likely my video will come up in the recommended next to it. So it's just like pressing the like button. So yeah, please do comment. Okay, advertisement over. So yeah, and the reason I've called this channel out Nonconformist Radio channel is because he has a video, something in the title, Friendly Organic Portals. And that's why I added in this last little bracket segment of this video, and a little negative shout out to you, because you don't know what you're talking about, pretty much. And I saw another video where you mention, what's his name, I forgot the author, but the Stellar Man book, and how in the Stellar Man book he talks about remembrance. This is noob stuff, you know, for the newbies who are like very spiritually shallow. This is like the first sort of stuff you realize, and that's why I've said in past videos I agree with Terence McKenna that we're being pulled from the future, and in fact I've furthered the hypothesis to say that we're pulled from future state ideals. Anyway, let's not get off track. So he has a video called, you know, something Friendly Organic Portals, and I thought that was stupid, because actually it's only ever going to be for frequency match luring, and or to trap you deeper within a trap. So it's not really friendly. It's so you're still seeing on the surface, bro. There's your little shout out, and I've blocked both your channels so you can't comment because it's annoying. You want to follow Eno Fago? Follow the Jin Hornbull people that don't know that they have demons attached. That's fine, I don't care. Awkward silence and the normal silence, the next segment here. Well, I had someone mention that. I think it was Oswaldo the Great. Was it you? I think so. You said something about the awkward silence, and then I realised there's also a normal silence that they do, and I call it the normal silence because it's pretty much the same silence that we all do, except with a little twist, because they're the organic portal. They seem to connect to the matrix instead of all creation, and when I say the matrix, I mean the surface virus. I do not mean entire creation as the matrix. And I'm talking about base reality and all this stuff in more videos, so we'll explain more on that. In future videos I will, you know, delve further deep into that. So the awkward silence is that one I heard mentioned by one of the commenters, and yeah, I agree. And when they're doing that, that's frequency match luring. They're looking for your frequency and to match, and it's to lure. That's why I call it frequency match luring. And then there's the normal silence. But I've noticed their little twist on the normal silence, which I already mentioned a few seconds ago. To reiterate, is them connecting to the hive mind, which is a surface cross current to the forward flow of the universal light of God, which is, you know, God is consciousness itself. So I do not take Chris Geo from Beyond the Veil's perspective, wherein he seems to have said in a video I was watching, he's saying that, you know, the organic portal, NPCs, he calls them all, NPCs, the non-player characters, their god is the 8th dimensional octopus, the, what's it called? I don't know, he goes on about it several times in his videos, the octopus that he saw in a vision. Definitely agree with your vision there, Chris, but that's 8th dimensional, and it's not post 9th dimensional time waves or divine pulsations. Also, I noticed this would be correct because you do a lot of ayahuasca, and ayahuasca is 8th dimensional, so I really see you sitting a lot in the 8th dimension. Whether you've broken through further or not, yeah, of course, and that's not what I'm commenting on today. But the octopus there has got itself wrapped around the 8th dimensional hypercube, and that's what he goes on about a lot, this Chris Geo from Beyond the Veil, and I do like the channel, so that's a positive shout out to you, but I feel I can put my little few corrections in there, in my opinion. I don't care if people agree with me or not, I'm going to put forth what I think. So, I don't think, you know, to get nihilistic and say that all this is an illusion. It's not an illusion, it's the field of illusion. And this is base reality in my opinion, and just because there are billions and trillions of stars does not necessarily mean there are physical aliens from Zinebel Canusi in billion-ton beryllium ships either. Do you see how you're making priori conclusions? It's called priori concluding. I don't like to do that. So be careful with your thinking. And before you speak. So anyway, back to the normal silence thing. I think that's their twist on that. For us, it's we connect, you know, we go into the silence, we connect to nature. And that's where I think the mismatch is. Everyone thinks that this is, you know, oh, it's the Matrix, all of this, and I'm inclined to disagree because you're kind of saying that reality is rotten to the core, and I think you're missing what's actually going on. There is that, the Yahweh virus, that's it, that's what Chris calls it, the Yahweh virus, or this multi-tentacle like octopi, where one of the tentacles might be the Pleiadians, another might be another star race species, and so on. And I agree with all that part of what you're saying, Chris, for sure, and the thing is that it's an 8th dimensional thing, and it's wrapped around the 8th dimensional hypercube. The 8th dimension is where the code coordination occurs, after the 9th dimensional divine pulsations. So, I'm not one to say that everything, like, yes, it's illusionary, but you say that it's not the correct language, and the language is ultimately important. We all know this as soon as we get you know, very far into reality explanation, that language really matters. And I don't think it's right to say the whole of creation is rotten to its core, it's just an illusion, don't worry about it, because what if not? What if it's base reality and we're not one of the infinite possible simulations, like Nick Bostrom puts forth in his theories, that, you know, if you can create one simulation, you can create infinite simulations, and therefore we're most likely one of those simulations, and then you become nihilistic. It's like, well, then what does it all matter? That has a good part to it, because you lose fear of death, but then it has much bad to it because you can get apathetic, okay? And that's the part I'm fighting against, the apathetic part. So anyway, back to the normal silence thing. It's like we connect to the nature and, you know, the light of consciousness, which is God, and they're connecting to the surface virus, which has its tentacles to the 8th dimensional hypercube, which is like complete last, not physicality, but I want to say it's like complete last coding for physicality. In the 9th dimensional divine pulsations, it's really, that's why the Yahweh virus can't get up further and interfere with your will of the 10th dimensional will force, you know, it can't get to you at your very core. And so, yeah, they connect to the surface virus in the normal silence, and That's the difference between when we connect to the normal silence. What stuffs them up? Multiple simultaneous sounds, for sure. Okay, I'm back. The video cuts out after 15 minutes. Quickly before we go on, to go back over what I said about the 8th dimension being like last physicality, and while I was saying that I realised that's not the best way to say it, because even the 7th dimensional, the 7th dimension is immaterial sound. That's where, you know, Reiki energy is, and that's where the rays are of colours, what that Magneta Pixie lady always goes on about, the violet ray, the silver ray, and the platinum ray, and blah blah blah. That's 7th dimensional. But that's already post-physicality. The last physical place is the 5th dimension, and the 5th is like the agua crystalline waters, you know, and that's physicality. That's like water compared to the 7th dimensional air. Immaterial sound. You know how air is really hard to grasp? You know, you can hold water in your hand, but we don't perceive air the same way, even though we get some friction from it. So I hope you understand what I'm saying there. And so what I was saying to finally clear that up is that, you know, the 8th dimension, it's not physical, but it has it's code coordination, and beyond that the divine pulsations are completely non-structural, so no physical sense at all. So that's what I meant by that last physical in the 8th dimension, which is not the right way to say it, because the 5th dimension is last physical. Anyway, so to move on, what stuffs them up? Multiple simultaneous sounds. That's why I said at the start of the video, you will win frequency wars every time. And with the soul perseverance. And the cough. Yes, the cough. Someone put in a comment under the video where I said, what video was it? I think it was Matrix Hive Mind, Huddles, Loud Talking, and Soft Whispers, and in that one I think I mentioned the cough. And I should again, it's like a push notification. You know how websites these days are giving you a lot of push notifications? And they say, you're on our website, we've got to put a cookie. What does a cookie do? Well, they can put adware, malware, etc. on your computer. It's exactly like the organic portal cough. It's like it's like this push notification cough that you're on the Matrix website. And you'll get this a lot with organic portals. And it's funny, if you're like, oh, maybe they're just a sick person, Ben. No. Over, 7 years, you become very adept at this. And there's no way everyone has the exact same cough. Or are you all exactly the same, which reiterates our theory anyway, that the organic portal is part of a group soul, not an individual soul anyway. So, either way, you've got nothing. So anyway, to explain the organic portal cough, it's like a push notification that you're on the website on their psyche. Because they're psychic, but they're not telepathic. That's reserved for 5th dimensional beings. Telepathy comes about in the crown and the 5th dimensional connection. I can teach you that via consultation. I'll mention it in videos, but I'm not going to teach all the methods. So you can get consultations of me. Remember, you donate for the Food Plant Teaching Series, $30 or more, but my consultations are really, the basic consultation starts at $111 for 2.5 hours. Check my merchandise barter page in consciousazine.net. But anyway, yeah, so the cough is like this push notification cough, and I did it just before, and it's always the same. It's not like a normal cough, you're just clearing the throat. It's like this push notification cough. It's very interesting, it's always the same. So it's like when you're on a website and they send you a push notification and you have to block or allow it, and it's for them to put a cookie in your browser, remember, so that they know you've visited the website, so that they what? So they know about you. There you go. So it's exactly the same with the organic portal cough. It's like the website push notifications. So look into the push notification and understand cookies in HTML web language, and you'll understand exactly what I'm saying. Now, in these events of the frequency wars, watch your crown. It's the crown chakra that you've got to be watching during this, not the heart chakra or anything like that, but the crown. Why? Why watch the crown? I'll give you a minute to think, to see if you're more intelligent than Benjamin Cowlenberg. I'll give you a minute. Take all the time you need in that minute. Why the crown? Why haven't I mentioned any of the other ones? Why the crown chakra? Let's see what you know. "30 seconds more." Alright, that'll do. So hopefully you could think why, but here's what I'll put forth. Watch your crown during these events, because the crown is where you get self-realization. That's where you get from Mother Kundalini, which is fourth dimensional, which is part of the fourth dimensional feeling body, or emotionality zone or dimension, energy motionality. It's where energy becomes tangential from the fifth dimensional living light waters of the fifth dimension, which is like a unified field of all knowledge, halfway point of the universe. But energy becomes tangential in the fourth dimension, and it's part of the feeling body, and humanity right now is up to the feeling body. That's why we've got a lot of, crisis in the world, because we're ready to accept a feeling body finally. We've made it through to the third dimensional seed point of sovereignty, the ego consciousness. That's where humanity is up to, and now we're accepting a fourth dimensional feeling body, and very quickly then you go to the fifth dimensional telepathic light body. So anyway, the crown. Why the crown? Because this is where you grant yourself self-realization, or Mother Kundalini grants you self-realization. So actually you can rub the top of the head clockwise. Remember, clockwise pulls up the energy through the body. Anti-clockwise pushes down energy through your body or chakras. So you're going to go clockwise. I think it's 10 times or 12 times. But hey, if you do it 15 times and you stuffed up the mantra and didn't concentrate and focus the light properly a couple of times, then there's nothing bad about it. So just do it like 15 times and you'll get it. So clockwise, Mother Kundalini, and so you're rubbing your right hand, your left hand on the top of your head, on the what's it called, the anterior fontanelle. The anterior fontanelle, and this is where your radio intellecti leaves your head, and you communicate with the stars via your radio intellecti or intellect. Via the anterior fontanelle. And so this is where we rub, basically just rub from the anterior to the posterior fontanelle, and then you end up going back down and forgiving everyone in your third eye, and you'll get rid of those brow lines as well. You've got a lot of brow lines. It's because you're taken. They've taken you via your crown. You get sucked up through it, basically, and they take your soul and your spirit. Okay, so watch your crown during these events. The crown chakra is most important in this. It's where they pull you out from. They don't pull you out from your base chakra, because that's where energy is always coming in, which is actually very similar to what I was saying about the ninth dimensional pulsations. It's like only a one-way flow. So that's why the Yahweh virus can't get up to the 10th dimensional will zone, and ultimately it can't beat us. And it's only an 8th dimensional virus at its deepest. Okay, so base reality, physical aliens no, Yahweh virus only to 8th dimension, life is not just a matrix, okay, to reiterate. It's surface virus. Anyway, so watch the crown during these events of the frequency wars. The crown is where you get taken, and that's where you also grant yourself self-realization. And you say 10 times while rubbing your hand very slowly on the top of your head, Mother Kundalini, or Mother, grant me self-realization. And you say Mother because it's, you know, Mother Earth energy. We see nature as feminine, and that's correct. If you read, say, Walter Russell's Secret of Light, he gives you some insight into the feminine and the father and mother principle of reality, actually. So that's one good reference for learning more about why people call nature Mother Nature, because it goes along the mother principle, and there's also a father principle. Anyway, yeah, that's pretty much it. If you hear this sound during my video, it's not me smacking on chewing gum, it's actually, can you hear it? It's like a click click click. That's my screen moving backwards and forwards, so I apologize for that. It's showed up in a few videos apparently, and people are whinging. Hey, you want better videos from me, do you? Oh, that's interesting, because what do I have at the start of every video? I have please donate so I can increase the sophistication of videos. So if you're not donating and you're just complaining, what do you think I'm going to do? Guess. consciousazine.com Chronicles.